I would like to discuss tonight in the level of being and the level of manifesting in the tantric consciousness. That when we talk about basically a tantric approach to life, we are not purely talking in terms of mystical experience alone, but we are talking in terms of how we perceive reality in the simplest way. That in a simple way we perceive the reality in the form of body, in the form of emotions, in the form of mindlessness, which is traditionally known as ignorant, bewilderment. That's the samsaric way of handling our world. Body represents all kinds of self-consciousness, including sense concepts, sense consciousness of all kinds, vision, sound, taste, feelings, and all the other things. Emotion includes aggression, passion, jealousness, pride, all kinds of other things. And mindlessness or ignorant includes a state of a total bewilderment, that we have no idea what we are doing, what we are experiencing, that we are completely missing the point all the time. Those are the three major principles that we constitute our life situations. When we discussed about the 5 Buddha principles the other day, we are talking in terms of the emotional level, or the secondary level, emotional level. But we haven't covered that of the body level, and we haven't covered that of the ignorant level yet. So I would like to discuss this particular perspective more clearly. Such is like Sami that we discussed about the 5 types of Buddha principles. There is the same correspondence of 3 types of Buddha principles, which are corresponding at the same time transcending the level of ignorance and bewilderment, and the level of emotional, and the level of body. There are corresponding principles at the same time. But we are not talking purely in terms of principles as an extraordinary thing that might help us, might work with us, so that we could free ourselves from those hang-ups, so-called. But we are purely talking in terms of how we could relate with those 3 types of principles that exist within our state of being. Psychologically, experientially, whatever. as Tantra speaks, the level of a body is world of manifestation, and the level of emotions are world of complete joy, and the level of bewilderment or ignorance is total space. Those are the three principles that exist. But there's no tension or there's no contradiction between the two types of three approaches. When we talk about a body, to begin with, we are talking in terms of actual body, physical body. Some bodies are well-shaped, fat or thin, functional or infunctional. Some bodies would see sight but couldn't hear sound. Some bodies could hear sound but couldn't see sight. Some bodies could feel but at the same time couldn't see or hear. Some bodies could hear and see but couldn't feel. But some bodies could do the whole thing. There are all kinds of bodies involved, physical experience involved, whether you're lame or whether you're deaf or whether you're dumb. But there's still same kind of experience happening constantly all the time. That it is experience of the body, experience of reality in a very simple level. In the sutras, the Buddha once said to Ananda, Ananda, if there is no body, there's no Dharma. If there's no Dharma, there's no food. If there's no Dharma, there's no clothes. Take care of your body for sake of the Dharma. That seemed to be one of the basic points of relating with the body is extremely important in the tantric tradition, but without any particular personal trips that you have taken one particular responsibility, such as like becoming vegetarianist, and you sneer down towards the meat eaters. You have become those people who wear purely cotton, natural products as clothing, and you stop wearing animal products. And you decide to live on a certain particular air, which is free from, that country is free from dictators. And we could go too far in that. Once you become vegetarian, you maybe stop eating meat, but you still enjoy peeling bananas. and crunching your teeth into biting peaches, and cooking eggplants as substitute meat. There are all kinds of human instinct comes up and becomes very complicated. Not that I'm trying to advocate eating meat as such at this point, or the otherwise, but I'm just pointing out how we don't accept our body as it is, that we tend to look into certain different areas so that the body could be handled, so we could have easy ride to whatever, up or down, direct. Somewhere that we don't like this place, so we want to go somewhere. Some people call it hell, some people call it heaven, whatever. Like to have an easy trip somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a particularly serious matter. It's humorous, in fact. It's not particularly mocking, but at the same time it is very hilarious that how we view the cosmos, our world, as if not really real world at all, that we could do something about it. We treat sometimes the world as a problem child who's trying to feed you, trying to relate with you, suggest all kinds of evil things. And sometimes we treat our world as the priest or the master who is telling you everything is good, whatever you do is fantastic. There's the flowers, there's the meadows, there's the wildlife, and the world is a fantastic place. Now, we haven't really made up our mind about what this world is all about. Some people would think they have, but still there's a fickle of doubt somewhere or other. That whenever there's temptation that comes up regarded as fantastic, evil or challenging, you jump sideways. As if you're riding a temperamental horse. There's a big problem about that we haven't accepted our world thoroughly, properly, and fully. I'm sure a lot of you have a critical attitude about what I have to say, but this is, in fact, is the fact that I have learned from my tradition. I have to say so, if you forgive me. That the world we are talking about is a very simple world, extremely simple world, which is made out of concrete, plastics, and wood, stones, greenery, pollution, and thin air. Actually, every one of you here is sitting on that world. That the world is made out of carpet. If you feel guilty, it's too late. Well, shall we say this is the real world or something else? There's got to be. Well, as far as what it concerns, this particular area is concerned, you and I both are here. This is our world here right now. You could say, hey, this is not true. I could go out and step out and ride in my car. And I could drive up in the mountains. I could camp out in the mountains in my sleeping bags. Still you are sleeping in the sleeping bags. It's the same as you're sitting on your rug, carpet. And somehow you can't get away with that. That this world is a real world, actual world, that world we experience, world we are thriving, that world that communicates to our sense perceptions. We could smell the smell of incense, tobacco burning. We could see through electric light bulbs at this point. Since it's dark, we could create artificial light. But when the sun comes, it's problematic, it's too hot. This is our world. To the extent that you are going to carry this world when you go back to your home. Every one of you is going to take us with you. With the stage, with the backdrop, with the flower, with the decanter, with the incense burning, with the cameras here, you're going to take that back to your home. You're going to look back again and again, so you can't get away from this world. At that time, of course, this world will become that world, which is the world of the past. But still, your memory is in this world, nevertheless. Otherwise, you can't have a memory. So you're still in this world from that point of view. This real world made out of thisness. In fact, made out of us. If somebody asks you how this world is made out, what are the substance in it? It's 75% of I and 25% of am. So this is our world. I am is our world. Then we can look into the next level, if you're up to it. If you're amused enough, which is the world of emotions is entirely different. I wouldn't say exactly different, but it's perspectively different angle. That when we feel so depressed and angry, when we begin to grudge against somebody, grind our teeth, begin to find our world is fantastically aggressive. Everything is irritating, including the pylons that exist on the countryside, who are harmlessly placing themselves there with the barbed wires going, the wires, electric wires going across. And we feel that we've been invaded, we've been raped. We feel so bad about this world. And the world is depressed. That we feel that when we experience aggression, that everything is expression of injustice. There's too much concrete, too much steel, too much grease, too much pollution, and we feel so angry, frustrated. We get so involved with that world of emotions. That in fact, it might be a beautiful sunny day, fantastic weather, and fantastic sight, but we still grind our teeth because of it. The world's trying to mock us. The clear blue sky is going to mock us, insult us, and beautiful sunshine is too embarrassing to look at. And fantastic full moon and beautiful clouds formed around it is insult. And a constant hate, enormous hate. It is almost unreal that we feel that we are actually levitating from the ground because we are so angry that we don't touch our feet on the ground. We feel we are actually levitating, hovering around the world. There's a sense of so much aggression is taking place. And then when we feel, on the other hand, in passion, in love, whatever, a lustful state, whatever, saying the same thing, that we begin to feel that there's enormous glue is sprayed on all over the world, that trying to stick you into. That only frustration is that you don't have enough money to buy the beautiful clothes you see in the shop window, and the beautiful antiques you see in the shops, and the beautiful whatever food, wealth that exists. You're still trying to keep your image that I'm not going to be like the rest of the countrymen. If I'm going to buy clothes, I'm going to buy specially, not like the redneck or whatever, but those are just the sidetracks actually. But actually, in the fundamental, the juice of the juice is actually happening. You want so much, you really want so much so that you begin to spray your own glue on over things that you want to be stuck on it. And constantly a person, objects, wealth, money, parents, relatives, friends, whatever you have, you begin to spray this parany kind and sophisticated, whatever, crude, spray of glue all over the place that you're asking to be stuck. And hopefully you think you can pull them back into your scene, so that once I got stuck, I've got enough sanity, enough power to pull them back on me. So once I got stuck on my friend, I want to make sure to begin with that I am enough, my glue is strong enough that I'm stuck with my friend. And then I could step back. So my friend is stuck enough on me, so I don't have to worry about that he's always going to be with me, or she's going to be with me all the time. Because my glue that I sprayed originally was so powerful, so strong, and so tough. And that's the trick that we play. But the problem sometimes is the other way around, in fact. That we find ourselves stuck on that, and that ground is too solid and too powerful that we can't actually step back. And then we scream and begin to worry about that. But that's another matter altogether beyond the subject what we're discussing at this point. Then we have another possibility of another type of emotions, which is called bewilderment, stupidity, ignorant, are synonyms. In that experience, we begin to feel that we are so fascinated with our world, constantly, that we begin to miss the sharp points of everything. that somebody tried to yell at you, call your name, you might answer it, you might not answer it, but at the same time you feel there was no point that you should hang on to, and you feel blushed. You begin to give a timid smile at the world, that you begin to heal your world from it. If somebody insults you, try to walk out of it. If you have an uncleaned pile of laundry in your corner of your room, you try to not look at them. Let alone think times of what is closest to the laundry machine. And even that's too embarrassing to think about it. It's trying to save our face by ignoring the reality. If somebody's irritating to you, you begin to feel you can't be bothered. So let us change conversation, subject of conversation. Let us talk about something else. My fantastic trip to Peru, I took photographs there. I've been with the Indians down there. It's fantastic. So let us change our conversation. We become very skillful at changing conversation at that point. Sometimes shielded up by a sense of little humor, which is put on humor. That particular type of humor is very superficial humor. Fundamentally, basically ignoring the whole thing. The sharp corners of certain things that come up to you be pushed away, ignored, or played deaf and dumb. And those are the basic principles of emotions that we are talking about at second level. And then the third level, ultimate level of the idea of bewilderment, or confusion. Is the point in which you begin to experience that as if a world doesn't exist, you don't exist. And we could say almost this experience is somewhat mystical experience. That shimmering water reflected on the pond brings a notion of stunnedness, completely stunned, fixed, solid, and so fixed that experience are no longer experience, but they are purely experience of fixation. And experience are extremely confusing, but at the same time, you don't want to let go your suction cups and of your tentacles to the phenomenal world, let go. But you would like to hang on to it. step out into it is not possible. There is a sense of being fixed, being a part of the rock or the mountain, or flat air. It doesn't have any energy. Experientially, you begin to feel that your head is being flattened on the top. That you're carrying or you're wearing, your head is stuck on a big wok, the Chinese cooking dish, which goes like that your head is got stuck on that. You're carrying this big metal object on your head, which is flat, but still there has little dent in it. Experientially, you feel that very personally. Your head is not even stuck on a corrugated sheet of iron. That's too interesting. But completely flat. From the level of your temple, that whole thing is flattened on your head, that you feel not exactly squashed, but you feel that you are fixed with the level of gravity, that you shouldn't worry about anything else at all, that everything's there, and at the same time it's confusing and not there, but you can't be bothered to talk about anything at all. That's the level of stupidity, that you're carrying a cast iron head on yourself. Your shoulders are stiff, your neck is stiff, made out of cast iron, whereas you have a heartbeat, which is a reference point. Maybe on the other hand, your feet is also cast iron up to the level of your hips. You can't even move. The only thing that's functioning is lungs, that you breathe in and out, your heartbeat is happening. That's the level of stupidity. That's what we're talking about. Now there's a different point of view of approaching that, which is not necessarily the hope, the possibility as such, but there's what's known as the principle of three kayas, trikaya. Kaya is a Sanskrit word which means simply body. And three kayas, that's connected with that. The first kaya is connected with what's known as Dharmakaya. Dharma means law, norm, truth, amongst a lot of other things. The reason why it is called Dharmakaya is because the Dharma speaks completely, totally, accordance with the language of ignorant people, which is the first starting point of confusion. If you are not ignorant, confused, thoroughly, utterly, completely, then we have no Dharma. So Dharma is related with that language of intelligence. That's the opposite of ignorant. Dharmakaya, state of Dharmakaya, is the original state of being in which that the opposite of cast iron placed on your head, but it's a state of complete openness, complete freedom. It's so free, even the question of freedom doesn't apply to that particular experience. It's complete, it's open, it's thoroughly open and utterly open. magnificent open. It's a complete open, so that the question of openness doesn't apply anymore at all. Completely spacious, the reference point, it doesn't make any differences. And from that point of view, that there is also manifestation of, because it's complete open and complete free, there are also emotions manufactured from that, manifested from that point of view, which also transcends the three types of emotions we talked about: stupidity, aggression, and passion, are also projected in the different forms. In the forms of that transcended version that we talked about the other day of the 5 Buddha principles, in a complete enlightened version. And there's capabilities of enormous scope that you can relate with the universe, you can relate with this, and you can relate with also that. That there is also accommodation to be dualistic if necessary, because dualism doesn't become particularly a threat or unkosher as such, and from Buddhist point of view. So there's a complete openness and a complete freedom exists. And then beyond that level exists the manifestation of the world, is that your body, that there are also living bodies of such particular entities, of a person who had gone through the first level and second level, and also the existed in the third level of living body. This third living body is known as the second living body, second emotional level is known as Sambhogakaya, which is the body, what literally means the body of joy and a sense of celebration. Emotions no longer become hassle. And third one is called the body of emanations, body of existence, manifestations, which is called Nirmanakaya. So if we study any kind of tantric aspects of any areas, that all of those three aspects are related with us personally, experientially, spiritually, transcendentally at the same time. So we relate it with the third body, what is known as the Nirmanakaya, the body of manifestation, as our master, our teacher, who is on earth, who also had achieved the other two, but at the same time, in order to communicate with our body and our food, our earth, and our clothes, our sense perceptions, that it is necessary that such manifested body is necessary to communicate with us and teach the tantric doctrine or Buddhist doctrine or whatever. And then as we develop, students also reach a level of his body, the teacher's body, a body of manifestation. Then the students begin to experience the level of Sambhogakaya, the second level, that emotions could be also transmuted and able to work with. And beyond that, then students also begin to be able to find, experience that they could tune into the body of Dharmakaya, which is the open space, all-pervading space at that level. So there's necessary to have that kind of understanding, and if you're going to study Tantra, it is necessary to have those kind of three perspectives. That the Buddha families we discussed the other day are related with the second one, the body of joy of Sambhogakaya level, of emotional level, but at the same time, it is necessary to have realization of a body, and then transcending body and emotion level. which is high above, which we're going to discuss. That experience we're going to discuss in oncoming talks later on when we begin to talk about Mahāti experience. That we're going to go through the 4 yogas of Mahāti experience. We're going to go through that later. But at this point, it is necessary to relate with the first body of earthly existence and relating with the Vajra Master, great teacher, who exists on earth, who is also a magician, in some sense, conjurer, in some sense, who has also managed to conquer level of emotions and actually exist on earthly body. And that may be the point of aspect of magic, the concept of magic that might be interesting to discuss later on. We could have discussions.
Rinpoche, if I may, I would like to express a few opinions about eating meat. In Jose Arguelles' first class or second class, he talked about a tribe that was, until the last few years, living in what he defines as the Golden Age. And this tribe was completely vegetarian, and they lived in some tropical paradise somewhere, and spent their time singing and communicating with the birds. And a group of anthropologists went to the island to study their culture and study them as this last golden age tribe living on the planet, and pointed out that the river was full of fish and that they could easily catch these fish, and they did and began eating fish and were no longer able to communicate with the birds. The second point is...
I beg your pardon? What you're trying to say in the first point. Can you make a statement?
That was it.
That was it? That's fantastic.
I think that, I personally accept the doctrine of An-Atman, but I would like to say that I think we have two kinds of souls. I think we have an animal soul and a vegetable soul.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And lately, plastic soul.
I think the animal soul is, from the place I'm coming from, comparable to Hinayana. That animals are concerned with their own self-preservation.
No doubt.
And develop...
Before we came, right? Before man came.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Development of the plant soul or the non-aggressive soul compares to the Mahayana in that the plants make food and, as it were, sacrifice themselves.
Before we developed the vegetable gardens.
Well, there were
created by men.
There were fruit trees that the monkeys ate from. The fruit dropped in their hands. They didn't. They didn't attack animals and eat them. They didn't. They didn't attack animals
Sure.
and eat them.
You're right. I think if all of us, even the students from Naropa Institute, move into that area of a golden age, and we would have devastated the whole thing. So there's not room for all of us. And we would have destroyed the whole thing. That seemed to be the problem. And what's your second question?
It takes 21 pounds of vegetable food to make 1 pound of meat.
That seems to be too extreme.
Well,
We're
it's,
destroying the vegetables.
but still, from the practical point of view, 21 pounds
Yeah, that's
of...
what I'm saying. Go ahead. Yes, please.
That's my last remark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. That was delightful. Is it working?
I have a feel for the transmutation of the Dharmakaya body, giving up sense of territory and sense of space. I have a feel for how to transmute the emotional body by just experiencing the emotions directly. I don't have a feel for how you're saying to transmute the sense of physical body into the body of manifestation. So to transmute that in a tantric sense.
Well, I think we are not only talking about a transmutation at this point. We are talking about actuality, realizing things as they are to begin with. So then once you begin to realize that, you can easily to transmute. That like you gather cotton wool, you gather dye, and when you put them together, you have a different cotton wool. Instead of white, you have red one, a pink one, whatever. It's a level of working with the substance that exists. And I think that's one of the very interesting points. I'm glad that you raised that point. Is we are not talking about purely immediate transformation, but we have to understand and realize what we are, what we're getting into to begin with. Once we're able to do that, what we're getting into, then there is a possibility that you're able to also relate with that particular principle, particular phenomenon, which is called a body. And the question of a body is not particularly important, but a question of, again, it is a psychosomatic body. That a body is no such thing as a body. The body doesn't really exist unless the psychosomatic body exists, which is what we call body, what we call seeing and hearing and tasting and feeling and everything. If we don't have those, we don't have a body. So we are psychosomating the whole thing, psychosomating the whole thing, if there's such a word. That we are actually making our body, giving our body, there's some kind of extra empowerment by reinforced by psychosomatic state of being. That when we have a body, we have a body. And actually related with that. And then at a certain point you begin to experience the body does actually exist beyond a psychosomatic level. That I am not only mother of Jack and Jill and Sarah, what else, but I am Elizabeth myself. you begin to realize you are not only mother, but you are what you are, personally. And that personal realization, it could be very devastating to a lot of people. As we grow up, when we talk about the growing up process, as we talk about, it's not so much you're actually growing up, that you're building higher and higher and a more powerful reference point of view, so that because that exists, therefore you exist. Because you become an educated person, therefore you are an important person. And because you can do this and this, therefore you are an important person. Even the small, humblest level, that when somebody says hi in the middle of a supermarket, if you're good, that you'll be acknowledged. And there's a constant reference point that you, as you grow up, you begin to ignore yourself. In fact, at some point, you begin to depend more on other people's confirmation on you. That you begin to collect successive initiations from other people constantly. You begin to that. That's what's traditionally known as the growing up person has learned that new trick. Whereas adolescent, in the childhood, you don't quite do so. Except that you have reference point to your parents and everything. Then you have to, at the beginning, you have to learn to speak, learn to toilet trained, and learn to eat solid food. And you begin to develop beyond that level. And you learn to go to school and everything. But then certain point, shift changes. That there's less reference on you as a person, but there's more reference on the reference point is beginning to build up. That you are just one you growing up, like a pine tree. You grow up, but your growth of your pine tree-ness is dependent on how many people pass by you, how many people make comment on your existence. That seems to be the basic point, the basic problem at the same time. That as we grow up, as we call ourselves grown up, actually, we could say quite exactly the definition of a grown up person is that the grown up person needs more reference point, more complimentary remarks, or the otherwise, or whatever. That looking for a reminder that you exist. That little wretched kid who was very naughty still become a respectable citizen, bank manager, guru, or doctor, or whatever. That there's a need for a reference point. That seems to be the body that we are talking about. Actually, is that the body is a reference point. It's beyond the emotional level, that actually your body, your existence, needs a reference point. That when you grow up, you begin to taste food, you need more food. You will like to explore food. And you know how to be polite to your neighbors or whatever. You need a body to do that. That the body is not made out of you as your body, but their reference point of body at the same time. That's why this is psychosomatic body from that point of view. It's very personal, extremely personal.
And the three bodies you were speaking about, the body relating to bewilderment, emotion, and body manifestation, the processes are really very interrelated. It's not a separate process.
Mm-hmm. It's a process of growth. Yes, that's right. Lady at the wall.
At one time you spoke of two other bodies, the cognitive mind body and the something or other physical body. How do those relate to the kayas?
I didn't hear what you said.
About the cognitive mind body, and there was another body that you mentioned once, something about the physical body. And
I think we are talking about the psychosomatic body, this body, basically. That particular type of body. That which is related with the actual existence, which need a reference point.
But that's the Nirmanakaya?
Not necessarily, but it is possible.
Would the other two relate to the other two kayas?
There's possibilities of that. But the whole thing is not all that a clean cut. And it seems to be quite different from Uspensky's definitions. One last question. Shiny-headed gentleman.
Would you please say some more about what you meant when you said that the Dharma speaks the language of confusion and bewilderment? That without complete confusion and bewilderment, the Dharma doesn't exist?
Well, if you can speak the language of confusion, that's very smart. But usually when we're confused, we can't speak about it because we're confused. And that's what I mean by confusion. You can't even speak on behalf. Because you're so confused, talk about yourself. And that's simply the point, is that if you can speak about yourself, that is signs of intelligence.
Did I understand you correctly that, well, I'll say what I think I heard, that the Dharmakaya, which speaks the language of confusion, conquers the realm of emotion and comes into a physical manifestation, which is a Vajra Master, that a student relates to the physical manifestation,
Yeah.
and then moves to conquering the emotional.
I think
level.
so, yes. I think you got it.
Thank you.
Good show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, maybe we have to close this point, having had a good show.